Sharpe is polarized to the point that we rarely hear each other. Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. So happy to be here this afternoon. The number to call, if you want to chat with me after the first break, 585-346-3000. You know, I was running around New York State this last weekend. And the same time I was running around doing stuff, there was a debate last week, mayoral debate. Some of you may have paid attention to it. Maybe some of you didn't. But in New York City, there was debate with Republican Curtis Sliwa, with Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani, and independent, I'm doing air quotes, Democrat light, I guess, or whatever he calls himself, Andrew Cuomo. It made me think of my time with all of these men. I have met all three. I interviewed Mamdani several years ago. He actually is my assemblyman. I'm friends with Curtis Sliwa. I like him. I'll be at an event that he's doing here in New York City later this week. So I know these guys. But the one guy who I don't really know is Andrew Cuomo. Now, I did meet him. I don't know him, though. In 2014, it was really the first time that I was really directly involved in politics. I mean, hardcore. Guy running for governor then, those you may remember, the Libertarian, was a guy named Michael McDermott out of Suffolk County, Long Island. And he was trying to get something done. Good for him. I liked him. I supported him. Sadly, he passed away since then. But in 2014, he was rocking and rolling, trying to make something happen here across this state. So I was going to get behind him. I wrote checks to him, supported him. I was literally his driver. Yes, I was. I drove him from Suffolk County all the way to Buffalo. Yes, you can't get much further than that, can you? So I went from Suffolk County all the way to Buffalo, stopping on the way, making radio station stops, things like that. I was helping to prep him because I was on his team, so I'm going to help out. Did debate prep because some of you may remember the last time a libertarian was on a debate stage for the governor was 2014. In 2014 in Buffalo, the debates for the governor, it was Andrew Cuomo. If you remember also, Rob Astorino, yes, Howie Hawkins from the Green Party, and Michael McDermott from the Libertarian Party. That's true. There were 4 people on the debate stage in 2014 for governor, and somehow the world didn't end. But that happened. Why would I bring this up? Because that was a time I actually met Andrew Cuomo. I did. I was part of McDermott's team at the time, 11 years ago. After the debate's over, we're shaking hands, all those goodies. I walk by, and I shake Andrew Cuomo's hand. You say this. You're thinking to yourself, all right, did you say something witty? I didn't. I just shook his hand and was like, good job, or something like that. I forgot what I said. Something like that. And he was utterly and totally dismissive. Yeah. So what I got from him at that time, and I was a guy just trying to be polite as we were walking by and teams were shaking hands. I shake hands with other team members that he had. He brought a couple guys with him too. He was utterly dismissive. Just like, why are you even here? How bad are you? Blah. Which is why when I see him turn on his charisma, which, even though I do not like this man at all, he absolutely does have charisma. He turns it on sometimes. Boom, on it goes. I mean, it's not real, obviously, but boom, puts it on. You know who also has charisma? Mamdani. You know who also has charisma? Sliwa. But I will tell you, for the other people in the debate, Sliwa and Mamdani, both of those two, they are true believers. They believe in what they're saying. They think it's the right answer. They think it's going to help New York City. They want to save their city. They actually care. What happened in that debate is that truth actually came through. Cuomo's charisma, or lack thereof, did not come across as real at all. He didn't knock it out of the park. And a guy like him, in theory, he is clearly the most experienced campaigner and politician of the bunch. No doubt. That's true. Like him or hate him, he's got the most experience. So he should have wiped the floor with these guys. He should have. You've been through it. You've been governor. You got the charisma. You got the experience. You keep talking about the experience. Why didn't you wipe the floor with these guys? He didn't. The reality came through. If you lean right, Sliwa's the real deal. If you lean left, I'm going to say it. I got to give credit where credit is due. If you lean left, Mamdani's the real deal. Can't believe I said that. Anyway, it is what it is. Cuomo did not do very at all well in that debate. He didn't come across as powerful. He didn't come across as charismatic. If anything, Mamdani won the debate, not because he was so great, but because the expectation of Cuomo was so much more. He was supposed to come in and show everybody, I got this, I'm the greatest guy. That did not happen. That did not happen. Instead, I think virtually nothing changed. I think virtually nothing changed. And I'm disappointed for two reasons. One, not that I think debates are the be-all and end-all, and all of a sudden debate, and now it's over. But I think it could be. I think it could. There was a chance for Sliwa to knock it out of the park and to crush Mamdani or to crush Cuomo and to end it, and that's it. Didn't happen either. Chance for Mamdani. Put it over the top. Didn't happen either. So basically what happened, whoever watched, I know a lot of people didn't, but if you did, you watched three guys kind of say the same type of stuff they've said, and almost nothing changed in the polls. Disappointing. Another one's coming up here, though. There's another debate coming up here. I think it's this Thursday, Wednesday, one of those days. I think it's Wednesday. Wednesday is coming up, another debate. Maybe Cuomo's going to do his magic. But I would ask you, if you happen to be in New York City or you know someone who's voting in New York City, remember, even if Cuomo's good at what he does, and he might be, because he does have charisma and he does have experience, it's not true. It's not real. He's dismissive. He doesn't care. He would turn it on because he thinks it would work. He would turn it on to hope that he would fool you. He doesn't actually feel it. He doesn't actually care. Whatever you think of Sliwa and Mamdani, I mean, I'm biased to Sliwa. I like him as a friend of mine. But maybe you're not. I'm not mad at you if you are. In either way, those guys, Sliwa and Mamdani, they're believers. They absolutely are believers. They believe in what they're saying, and they're trying to make that happen. So I'll give them that, right? That's for sure, either way. And we'll see what happens. But sadly, I don't see a huge change. Let me grab a quick comment, which is right on topic. Mike Voss is in the house. He says, Sliwa had the best policies in the debate. Mamdani had the most energy and was far too theatrical. Cuomo was a non-factor. Moderators sucked and were biased to Dems. I would agree on all those points. The part that bothered me most about that, of all the things you just said, Mike, is the moderators, they assumed that this election is between Mamdani and Cuomo, and that Sliwa was just, we kind of had to have him here. That was obvious in the way they acted. It's obvious in what they did. It was obvious in their attitude, and Sliwa had to fight for it. He had to fight to get more attention. And that's sad. I think your point's valid. Look, I get it. Moderators are human, and they probably liked one guy more than the other. It's human. I've been a moderator, and I've liked one guy more than the others. But if you can't put that aside for your work, for your profession, don't take this job. Don't be the moderator. Say, I can't. Whatever. I love Mamdani. I can't be the moderator. I love Sliwa. I can't be. Well, they didn't. They might like Cuomo. Whatever. They have Cuomo, and I can't do this. Okay. But they didn't. And that was unprofessional. You're right, Mike. I'm not mad at somebody for having a bias. I have them too. I have them too. If I'd have been there, I would have been biased towards Sliwa. But I either wouldn't have shown it, or I wouldn't have taken a job as the moderator. One or the other. And they didn't. That part bothered me the most. Look, you're right on everything you said. But that one bugged me personally because I've been a moderator, right? I've been in that spot. That bugged me. Granite Liberty says, Sliwa did great. It's amusing to me that Cuomo backers have forgotten just how much contempt conservatives/Republicans have for the former governor. They do. But, Granite, he does have charisma, and very often people vote for who they like. And this is the part I'll bring up now. This election in New York City, as odd as it may turn out, there is a very good part to this. This is a time when New York City has pushed against the establishment. That part of this is good. That part is good. Now, of course, they went further left to Mamdani, but at least they broke against the establishment. If this was probably, 10 years ago, whatever number, Cuomo wins this hands down. Not even close. This shows how even Democrats have said this establishment isn't working. So that part's good. The second part's that's good. There's a lot of people who actually like Mamdani. They may not know his policies, but they like him. And he's a likable guy. I know him. If you meet him, if you didn't know who he was, if you just met him on the street and you were talking, you'd probably like him. Nice guy. People are actually voting for somebody and not against somebody. That also is a good thing in this election. Am I nuts? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs. And thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Donald Trump and conservatives may have won, but you know the left will unceasingly try to undermine society and spread evil, targeting the innocent and God-fearing, especially our children. Help promote a truth-based society and try something different in 2025. The WYSL stations can grow your business, professional practice, or organization, so allocate your ad dollars here. Reach our huge audience, entertained, inspired, and informed by leading conservative thought. Affordable, effective. The WYSL stations, the voice of liberty. Call 585-346-3000 to advertise.
Hey, if you like history and you like airplanes, the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo, New York is the place to go. Tours, exhibits, events, vintage aircraft, and more. Visit nationalwarplanemuseum.com for more details.
Sharpe Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Radio on the voice of liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number to give me a buzz. We are talking about what is happening in New York City and this election. And why does it matter? And I say that because there are some good aspects to this. That's what I would say. There are some good aspects. As I mentioned, there are people who are now voting for someone they want to vote for versus just fear of the other. That's not bad. That's something good out of this. So I think, there we go. There's something. And you have Democrats who are like, this isn't working. The establishment is not working. I got to go someplace else. So not great, but I would say these are consolation prizes. That's what I would say. We got a couple of those. So yeah. John says, Larry, I feel like Curtis Sliwa's love for the city showed better than the other two candidates. Agreed. Mamdani had some of that. I think he did. He had some of that, but his was much more about virtual signaling than Curtis was. So yes, but I do think that came through for him also. The funny part is all three of them were in theory raised in the city. I mean, Cuomo, his dad was mayor, so he was, I'm sorry, his dad was governor, so he was all over the place. But in theory, they were all raised here, in theory, but not really. So anyway, Mike goes on, and let me see if I can grab Mike's. He says, I predict the election, let's see if I get this, will get about 35%, 38% of the voters. The majority of voters are apathetic at this point. Huh. I think has more. He has made many people want to vote. So I disagree. I hope you're right that the few people vote is it. If few people vote, there's a higher chance of somebody else maybe winning, right? Because if one person gets a bunch of their people out, it would work. But I do think that I would bet there'll be a higher turnout than normal, right? I would bet there'll be a higher turnout than normal versus lower. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think, yeah. Kaiwan says, I think Curtis Sliwa won the debate. I think he means won the debate. But as a whole, conservative influencer trying to make it seem like he didn't win the debate. But he won the debate. Look, you could say he won the debate, right? You could, if you are a conservative, because I think he showed some compassion as a conservative, which many conservatives struggle to show compassion. Many do. That's true. He doesn't. He is able to show compassion. He's able to show and talk about the issues that the sacrifice he's made he's able to do that. So I think he did a decent job of that. So if you're a conservative, you could say that. But if you're a Democrat or a liberal, you're mad at him. He's a bad guy and he's all the bad things. I don't think that it's so obvious, Kaiwan. I like what you're saying. I don't think it's that obvious. That's my piece. Phil says, they cut Sliwa off to make him look bad. I don't think that's the reason, Phil. And let me modify that. They did cut him off. True. But it wasn't to make him look bad. It was because they just dismissed him. They didn't think it mattered. They didn't think he was valuable enough. This is between, the two Democrats. So did they make him look bad? Yes. But it wasn't to make him look bad. It was to dismiss him, right? That was the issue. I'm just modifying it a bit. So, all right. Stephen says, let Larry lead. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. Absolutely. I appreciate that. For those who don't know, I was out and about last weekend. I was in Fulton County, Hamilton County, Warren County, Clinton County, and St. Lawrence County, and Montgomery County. So I was in a bunch of counties. I was North Country, up by Canada, all over the place. As I tell you all the time, you can come out and see me. If you want to, head over to my Larry Sharpe social media, and you will see where I am. And here's the best part, guys. Some of you are listening right now. This is the best part. This Saturday, I will be in Rochester. Yes, you can come see me. I will be at Bill Gray's at the Port of Rochester, which is 1000 North River Street, at 5 p.m. Come by, hang out. I ask you for one thing only. Buy some from a beverage when you're there. Buy a beer, a cup of coffee, whatever, a bottle of water, whatever you got. Please buy some, support the local place, and hang out with me at 5 p.m. Port of Rochester, Bill Gray's, 5 p.m. this Saturday, 1000 North River Street. At 6 p.m., we're going to have a dinner. If you want to come by for the dinner, come on by. If you've got the time and the cash, happy to have you for dinner. If you don't have the time and or the cash, just hang out between 5 and 6. I'll be there. Let's have a chat and talk. So, yes, I am traveling all across this state. You will see me there often. Please stop by if you have a minute. So, thank you for bringing that up. I do appreciate that, Stephen. He knows that I'm running around. It's true. So, I do want to grab onto a couple more of these comments. I'm getting more and more comments, and I appreciate it. So, yeah, let me grab some more of these. Phil says, the calls for Sliwa to drop out and endorse Cuomo disturbs me. Why should we punish virtue, and reward vice? I'll tell you why, Phil. Buffalo, 2021. It's been done before, right? It is the ultimate in the lesser of two evils. It's the ultimate in that. So here comes, in that case, it was India Walton. I've told the story many times. I've met India. We were on was it NPR together years ago? So yeah, she won the primary. For those who don't know, India Walton is very far left compared to Democrats, similar to Mamdani in that regard. And she won the Democratic primary. And the Democratic establishment said, we can't have that. That's nuts. We can't do that. She's crazy. She's a socialist. She's a communist. All the things you heard them say Mamdani is. And so the Republicans there, their establishment too, and they were like, well, yeah, we didn't want that to happen. So I'm not joking. The Republicans there and the Democrats there got together. The Republican dropped out, and they did a write-in campaign for the Democrat. And the write-in campaign beat India Walton. And the current mayor is Byron. Is that right? He's the current mayor because of that. So that's why, Phil, because in the past, the establishment got together to crush any outsiders. See, this is the one thing that in New York State, Democrats, Republicans agree upon: no competition. That they agree on 100%. This is a two-party state. Well, now a one-party state. This is an establishment state, and that's all it is. Phil, they don't call this state the Empire State for nothing. So, just saying. That's why they're doing it. I hope that makes sense at least. Yes. Am I nuts? Are you mad at me? Did you like India Walton? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on the Voice of Liberty, Sharpe Radio, back with your calls and your chat after the break.
God bless America.
WYSL.
Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA-FM, Hornell, New York.
FM Talk.
Canisteo Valley Update.
As far as Hornell School construction projects go, at Hornell High School, crews continue to work on the reconstruction of the new competition gym and indoor track. School Superintendent Jeremy Pilati says this will be ongoing for the next year or so. At the Hornell Intermediate School, construction and renovations continue, and creating a new classroom wing and renovating many second and third floor classrooms. School Superintendent Jeremy Pilati says that work is expected to be completed by the spring. In other news, Steuben County spokesman Eddie Van Stein is still accepting submissions for the best Steuben County photo. If you're interested, email him at evanstein@steubencountyny.gov. Van Stein is spelled V-A-N-S-T-I-N-E. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. Today, showers to start, but turning to partly cloudy skies this afternoon. Cool with highs in the mid-50s and breezy with winds out of the west 20 to 30 miles per hour and gusts possibly up to 40 miles per hour in some spots. Tonight, partly cloudy as winds begin to calm around midnight with lows in the low 40s. And then tomorrow, partly sunny to start with showers likely in the afternoon, less breezy and highs in the low 60s. I'm meteorologist Nate Morris for the Voice of Liberty.
Bob Savage here again for Aaron Moore. I know you're feeling those crisp, cool nights, and as you notice the chillier air, that's also got to get you thinking about your recent rising energy bills. Good thing you can do what so many have discovered, that you can slash your heating costs this fall and winter with Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters while cranking down your furnace. Even better, Aaron Moore heat is quiet, clean, and even, and healthier. No burning of oxygen and particulates to dry out your nose, sinuses, and skin. And Aaron Moore heaters are completely safe for children and pets. No exposed hot surfaces or heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards. Choose the best-selling Comfort Deluxe or the Compact Comfort Buddy for smaller areas. Enter discount code WYSL in your shopping cart and save. Free shipping in the continental USA. Copper PTC technology means there are no bulbs to replace ever. Built like a battleship, maintenance-free Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters are the way to really save on heating bills like we do. At the Voice of Liberty, call 800-707-8725 or visit air_more.com.
Your go-to standard of specialized business insurance coverage. MGM Associates of Rochester, now serving the region and beyond in New York. Since 1984, MGM has provided leading coverage from a wide range of carriers. Not only home, condo, boat, motorcycle, and auto, but also specialized policies for all types of businesses, including nonprofits and law firms, livery insurance, property insurance, and bonds for all needs. MGM Associates of Rochester provides auto, workers' comp, healthcare, and liability coverage. Choose from virtual appointments or good old in-office, in-person consults by appointment at our Penfield office. Now 7-time winner of the National Best Practices Award, MGM is proud to support veterans groups. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates, locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008 or mgminsured.com. An associate of Chautauqua Patrons Insurance, 523 West 3rd Street, Jamestown, New York.
When a change of direction is needed, it falls on voters to choose integrity, straight talk, and quality leadership. It's how things get better. Albany and county politicians are trying to buy our town, backing a candidate who can't stand on his own merits. Don't let them run the show. Vote Bill Murphy, the Republican for Greasetown supervisor who answers to you, not the politicians. Bill has nearly 30 years of experience in law enforcement and leadership with the town of Greece. His vision includes transparency, responsibility, and commitment to you, the Greece citizen.
This is Bill Murphy. A vote for me is
is a vote for a better future, paid for by friends of Bill Murphy.
At NYC Memorial Hospital, we believe every birth is more than a moment. It's a beginning of a family's new chapter. In our family birthing center, you'll experience expert care in a cozy private suite that feels just like home. From birthing beds to whirlpool tubs, we've created the ideal space for comfort, bonding, and support. Your care, your family, your way. To schedule a tour or find a doctor that delivers at Noyes Birthing Center, call 585-335-4246. Noyes Memorial Hospital, where families begin.
Patchwork Saddlery in Avon fits Western saddles as well as English saddles. The styles and construction is different, but the importance of fitting the horse and rider isn't. Whether you're a trail rider, a barrel racer, or a roper, your horse can't give you his best if his saddle is hurting him. Patchwork Saddlery's fitter can give you the peace of mind that your saddle is good for both of you, or the insight to select one that would work better. Put your money where your heart is. Shop locally at Patchwork Saddlery, East Main Street, Avon.
Sharpe Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe on the voice of liberty. Sharpe Radio, 585-346-3000 is the number. I have been talking about the debate in New York City and Republicans, Democrats, but I want to bring up an important point. I very often get mad at the Republican GOP, state GOP here in New York State. I do. But I want to make sure I'm making a distinction here. It's important to make this distinction because I have very often supported local Republicans across New York State. I have. Sliwa, example. When I talk about the broken state GOP, it's at a statewide level. Locally, there are many great Republicans who run, tons of them. And if you happen to like one of them, please support them. Makes sense. You should. Many of them locally are very good. Not all, they're human. Some of them are bad too. But many of them are very good. Support the ones you feel you want to support. Locally, Republicans win across this state. The state, when it comes to its size, is a red state. There's just a bunch of big blue dots. Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Ithaca, Albany, New York City, obviously, that turn the state blue. That's true. In a statewide race, not local, it's almost 3-1 Democrats to Republican. There are more independents than there are Republicans in this state now. 300,000 New Yorkers leave our state every single year. Most of those would not be voting blue. If they'd be voting blue, they'd stay. They'd like what's happening. But they don't, and they're leaving. So they'd be voting blue. That means the state is becoming bluer. Bluer and bluer. This is why I push independent parties all the time, particularly at the state level. When you start pushing them at the state level, now you can make some change. That's why I push so much. I want to make that clarity because I would be a hypocrite if I would say I like Sliwa and then say I'm mad at the New York GOP. At a statewide level, I am, and I stand by that. At the state level, the New York GOP has not accepted the reality that it's almost 3-1 Democrat Republican, and a Republican has not won any statewide election in this state in 23 years. The last time was Pataki in 2002. Since then, no senator, no AG, no governor, nothing. The New York GOP is doing fine locally. It has not come up with a strategy and a statewide election at all. Has not come up with one at all in the past 23 years. That has to change. And that's the part that bothers me. That's the part we got to fix. And it is not being fixed in any way, shape, or form. And Matt, here's my answer. Independent parties. That's mine. Now, why do I say that? Well, we saw our debate, didn't we? We saw our debate. The debate in New York City was 3 people. It changed the dynamic of the debate. When you have another person there, in this case, the independent was kind of like Curtis Sliwa, if that makes any sense. Curtis Sliwa was the one who could attack both of them. He was one who could hit both of them. And then, of course, who looked worse? Sliwa looked better than Cuomo in New York City. Usually, Sliwa was the evil bad guy in New York City. He wasn't. He kind of became like the independent guy. And they had to figure out who was the bad guy between Mamdani and Cuomo. Things change when there's a third party. Things change when there's an independent party. That piece matters. And I wanted to make sure I was clear on that. I'm talking statewide. Yeah, sometimes I support local Republicans. It's true. I do sometimes. Yes. Statewide. Why bother? I don't mean to be mean. The numbers just aren't there. Just my view. Thomas says, New York State is turning blue because people are voting with their feet rather than standing up in their communities. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. My worry is we've gone so far that my worry is there's almost no return. My belief is at a statewide level, this state will go gold or purple before it goes red. But if it does go gold or purple, that will motivate the red. Maybe they'll actually start. Maybe they'll actually start doing something, having real policies, and feeling they can fix the state.
Roger.
I hope that's true. I can't be sure, but I hope that's true. So we'll see. I'm gonna have a call if I could. This is Roger. Roger, how are you, sir?
Hey, what's up? So Michael Voss wanted me to, he made me look up some numbers because he was talking about how we think turnout is going to come through. So I looked it up. So in 2001, there were 3.7 million registered voters in New York City with a 1.5 million turnout. 2005, it was 3.9 million registered with 1.3 million turnout. 2009, 4 million registered with a 1.1 million turnout. And it's been 1.1 million turnout ever since, even though in 2013, it's 4.2 million registered, 2017, 4.5 million registered, and right now it's 5.3 million registered. But the turnout has always been, for the mayoral, the same people coming out, 1.1 million, ever since, what do you call it? Like a while ago, 2009.
So for about 15 years, give or take, the same amount of people keep showing up.
It's the same people. Same people. Sorry about that. That was my navigation. Same people like coming out.
I see. That's my point. I think I'm right on this one. I think I'm gonna be right on this one. Mike, if you're still listening, I think I'm gonna be right on this one because I think Roger makes a valid point. You've had more and more people registered, even though they're still leaving the city. So that means people are moving out but keeping New York City registration because there aren't that many people who are living here and still voting here. That's broken registration. There should probably only be about 3.5 million people in New York City registered to vote. That's their bad system of not getting rid of them, or people moving to Florida and keeping New York State registration for voting, or double registration. I've had double registration before in New York State already. For a while I had it. So it happens constantly. Let me keep moving on with that. But Mamdani is motivating people. So if it's usually 1.1, I'm going to say it's more than 1.1. I'm going to say it's more like 1.3, 1.4. This guy has been knocking on doors throughout the entire city. Not just that. There are people who are afraid of him, people who normally wouldn't vote. So we have people who are afraid of him, who will rush to vote because they're scared of him, and people who think this guy's the next answer, and they're going to rush and vote for him. I think we're going to have a huge change and an increase. What do you think, Roger?
I don't know. I mean, but I'm trying to figure out how is it that the number of registered voters have been increasing over the years, but people are still leaving. You know what I mean? So wouldn't that have to mean that?
And I'm going to tell you why. when I was
more people
registered.
turning 18?
Yep, I was registered twice in New York State for years. Years ago, I lived on Long Island, like 20 some odd years ago. I lived in Suffolk County, like 20 some odd years ago. I moved to Queens about 20 some odd years ago. And literally, I was registered twice for over 10 years. I only voted one place. You can check if you want to. And I told the Board of Elections, I submitted the change. That's how I got my new place in Queens. I submitted the change. It stayed on the books for over 10 years, even though I told them that I changed it. In fact, maybe even longer, maybe 20 years. So I think, if I remember right, when I went to, when I had won ballot access for the Libertarian Party in 2018, I think that's when they finally changed it. I think that's when they finally changed it, when I got ballot access and turned my, and I'd officially be libertarian instead of being libertarian other or whatever it was before. So that's the one thing. New York State system is garbage, and people are double, every time you move, you're double registered, number one. And I notice also when you do mailings, I still get mailings from people where I live now from the last people who lived here. So I still get that all the time. So that also. And lastly, during the lockdowns, people physically packed up and left, but they kept their registration here so they could vote here. So I think those are the reasons why. Does that make sense, Roger?
Yeah, I mean, it could also be more people turning 18 years old, I guess.
I mean, I guess, but people also leaving and people also dying.
Yeah, that's true. How many more people lived than?
Yeah, and they're physically leaving. Oh, so yeah. That's why the number stays the same, even though registration keeps going up, because at least 1 million of those registrations are bogus. So anyway, thanks for the call, Roger. I appreciate it. So do you think that New York has a bunch of bogus voter registration? Hint, they do. You can tell me if you want to. 585-346-3000 is the number. Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio, on the Voice of Liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Debunking advertising from the law office of Christopher Johnson. One ad some injury attorneys inundate you with, "What's your case worth? Call us and find out." You know, nobody can tell you, quote, what your case is worth over the phone. Nobody knows. The ultimate answer to, quote, what your case is worth.
Can we have another call, Craig?
Months of research, evaluation, and preparation.
You're welcome. By the way, last hour, Peter Vasquez had 2 election commissioners from Monroe County, and we're talking about many things. And we had Marley Hornick call in on the show.
After an accident or injury.
I trust you know Marley?
The advice and legal advice you get.
Yeah. So it was a rather interesting discussion, to say the least.
Car, truck, motorcycle accidents.
Yep. The Next Step show from last hour. If you get a chance to download the podcast, listen to it.
585-415-3803.
Youth for Christ Rochester is creating a safe sanctuary and a Christ culture for at-risk city kids. Our basketball programs provides a strict code of conduct, discipline, and mentoring to give our kids the boundaries they need and crave. Our God's Girls middle school program is so popular, we're now in 3 city schools and growing. Our Performing Arts Academy explores and identifies untapped gifts, all while delivering the gospel of Jesus Christ. Give a monthly or one-time gift at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the Voice of Liberty. So happy that you're giving me a chunk of your afternoon. So, I've been talking a lot about Democrats, Republicans here, talking about New York State and New York City and the elections recently. But something else. Dina says it. She says, Rochester. Hooray, Larry. I will see you there. And again, guys, if you want to see me, you can. Next Saturday at Bill Gray's at the Port of Rochester, 1000 North River Street at 5 p.m. I'll be there. You want to come by? Say hi. 5 p.m. Please do me a favor. Just buy a beverage, whatever you can afford. Can you afford a cup of coffee, bottle of water, beer, whatever? Head over there, grab a little bit if you could. 6 p.m. we'll have a dinner. If you've got time and cash, come by and eat. If not, I'll still see you from 5 to 6. We'll hang out there. You can we can see what's going on. It's a lot of fun. And you know I'm there so we can chat and talk. All good. We love those things. So thank you for that, Dina. I hope I'll see you there. She says that I will. So I'm going to assume that she will indeed be there. Ken says, go see Larry. Use your money to support the local businesses. Use your voice to support Larry. If you don't tell your friends about the man that's a plan to make New York better, who will? Help Larry, help New York. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Craig. Craig, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Larry?
What's going on?
Well, I'm just calling because Roger called and he asked, he said, how could it be that all these people are leaving New York State and yet the rolls continue to grow? And you know me, I am all about government conspiracies because they perpetuate them. They perpetuate them repeatedly every single day. And I think I know that the people, the Citizens Audit, I believe it's called, and I think I've heard them advertise on this program before. They would tell you that it's because they are purposely duplicating voting records so that they can use them to sway the elections in whatever direction that they would like. So I just wanted to throw that out there as another likelihood as to why the numbers seem fishy in the voting rolls.
I want to say you're wrong and that's bad, but no, you're probably right. That's the worst part. You're probably right. Look, I know from personal experience that there are tons of double elections. Well, maybe that too, but tons of double registrations. And I had it for years, and I literally put in the change. Like I did the paperwork, physical paperwork that I mailed in. Then after I mailed in, I did it online. When I renewed my license, I did it online too. So I did it more than once and still it was doubled. I'm with you. I think there was a time in my life, Craig, when I didn't think that the government could possibly do all the things that I see the government doing now. Those days are long gone. Thanks for the call, my friend. I appreciate it. So there we go. It's not just me saying it. It's Craig too. It's happening everywhere. It drives me crazy, but I think it's true. Let's see. Dominic says, let's do the math. About 25% registered voters vote in mayoral elections. Sliwa got about 350,000 votes versus Adams, 650,000. There are about 550,000 registered Republicans, which Sliwa should easily get at 450 this time around. See, here's the issue. Are those Republicans going to vote? Statistically, no. Statistically, maybe only half vote. Now, in this case, maybe a little bit more than half. Most don't. That's the most I'm exaggerating. A lot don't. So, in theory, yes. In practice, no. Dominic goes, if Cuomo drops, his votes mostly would go to Sliwa or to nobody. I disagree. You've made that up. That's not true. If you look at people across the country, New York City, no difference. If you are a hardcore Democrat, you hate Republicans. Sorry, you hate Republican candidates. If you're a hardcore Republican, you hate Democratic candidates. If you're a Republican right now listening to this, hardcore Republican, and I said, what would it take to vote for a Democrat? You'd basically say, nothing. Well, Democrats think the same way about you. So I completely disagree. If Cuomo drops, very few would go to Sliwa. Remember, the people voting for Cuomo are voting for the establishment. They're voting for Democrats. I'm not sure that he automatically goes to Sliwa. I'm not sure. I think some might go. I don't know if all will. I don't buy that premise. Given his 25% support, that's around 250,000 votes. Also add the naysayers who say a vote for Sliwa is a vote for Mamdani, and now who would actually vote for Sliwa. Sliwa could win and win handily. I like what you're saying. I just don't buy it. I think, is it possible that Sliwa could win? Yes, if Cuomo dropped. But handily, no way. It's possible he could squeak. Here's what to remember. Already, Mamdani, on his own, is almost at 50%. You're telling me Sliwa's going to get to 52%? I don't see it. That's a stretch. Stretch. Could happen? Yeah. Stretch if Cuomo drops. Plus, Cuomo's not dropping. Cuomo's not dropping. The New York Post, a very right-leaning paper, is asking Sliwa to drop. So I don't see Cuomo dropping. But I get your point. I'm not buying it. I'm not there. Andrea says, the government is completely inept and the machine doesn't care as long as you get paid. See, I tend to be with you, Andrea. I tend to think the government doesn't plan these horrible conspiracies. I think something goes poorly, they see an advantage, take advantage of it, and that's how it becomes the conspiracy. Like they didn't plan it. It just started to happen, right? It just started to happen. And they went, oh, we could use that. Yeah, let's use it. And let's let people think that we're that smart and that we took care of it and that we're ultimate power, even though we're completely irrelevant. So that's where my head goes. I'm kind of with you on that. Yeah. John says, let me grab John if I could. If Curtis wins, Kathy Hochul scratches the election and installs Mamdani. That'd be nice. Look at that. I'd love to see that. That would be crazy. It would validate every single possible conspiracy theory ever. So maybe I who the isn't the real issue here isn't who wins in this regard. I mean, it is. But what will Kathy Hochul do? She's not going to get the person she would have wanted. She wanted Eric Adams. That's what she wanted. Why did she want Eric Adams? Because Eric Adams was controllable for her. He was broken. He would have to do what she says. He was in trouble. He's not coming. So she's going to get a belligerent Cuomo, a belligerent Sliwa, or a belligerent Mamdani. Either way, she's unhappy. She just thought, you know what? What the hell? I'll take Mamdani. I can probably control him the best. And the best thing is, she can pretend she's a hardcore lefty because she supported him, but then not be a hardcore lefty whenever that works for her too. So, yeah, that's that. Phil says, on The Breakfast Club, Sliwa said they offered him jobs and to take care of him if he dropped. He said Adams was made the same offer and took it. You know, I believe that, Phil. I do. And to be forward, Phil, if it's you're Adams, you're completely broke now. I mean, politically, not dollars-wise, because you've taken tons of bribes, so you got cash. But you're politically broken, almost no future. They offered it to you. Do you take it? A lot of people would have. That's all I'm saying. I get what he did. I understand why. Not saying it's right, but I get why. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.
Talk to you next week. Thanks.